Over the years, I've had a lot of people that I know that are just getting into weightlifting or fitness ask me for advice on things, how to get started and what to eat and things like that. Usually this is kind of a specific question that they ask me, and then I come back at them with a laundry list of 4 or 5 pieces of unsolicited advice. But genuinely things that I think would help them and allow them to be able to stick with it and get some enjoyment out of it. So I've decided to compile a list of 10 things that I wish I knew and that someone had told me back when I first got started in fitness, probably about 20 years ago. I'm not going to get into specific techniques here. There is a wealth of information about lifting on YouTube, and it's done by people that are a lot more qualified and a lot more knowledgeable than myself. I just want to talk about a few tips that have to do with the lifestyle and things that I think will make it more enjoyable and make people more likely to stick with it. I'm not a doctor and a trainer. I've never been super jacked. I've always just been the kind of guy that's just maybe one of the more muscular guys in the office. So once in a while people ask me these things, and I've just decided to compile a list of them. So take one of these, take all of these, take what works for you and just leave the rest for somebody else. And I think that a few of these will be very helpful to a lot of people. Alright, let's start with the basics, alright? This is Mr. Miyagi painting the fence right here. Get this little tiny lock for your keys, because this will allow you to just bring your stuff to the gym. You don't have to worry about whether or not you have a lock. You can keep your clothes in your car, and this is just going to reduce friction of actually getting up and getting to the gym. You're always going to be able to go, you're always going to be able to lock your stuff. No excuses there. Fits right in your pocket, you never know it's there. I don't know why most people don't do this. You always see those big padlocks, and look, if someone wants to come in and cut this little tiny lock off and steal your stuff, then they're gonna cut the big one too, or they need you to close more than you do. So get this tiny lock, it'll make the whole experience a lot easier, and you'll be glad you did. Pause this video and go online and order this exact blender right now, and I'll wait. This is Cuisinart or Cuisinart, I don't know how you pronounce it, but this thing is an absolute beast. I've had it for like 15 years and we hammer it pretty much every single day. Awesome. You're getting your protein, but you're also getting your fruit here. Frozen fruit is cheaper and you're getting a full nutritious shake. Also, freeze your own bananas. Let them get nice and ripe. Bust them up into pieces and freeze those bananas. This is delicious. Guys, this is by far the most important one on this list. This goes for anyone who's just getting started working out or has been working out for a long, long time. Focus on the form and technique, and the strength and the weight will come later. It just gets you into better habits, you're gonna have better results, and more importantly, you're gonna have less risk of injury. Also important is it teaches you to just check your ego at the door or leave your ego at home. Nobody cares how much weight you're lifting. No one's paying attention to what you're doing in there, and if you're working out with a friend, chances are you already know who the stronger one is anyway. So no one cares what you're doing. Do it right, do yourself a favor, and don't hurt yourself, and you'll see results. I had 2 buddies in college that both just wanted to start working out with us and had never done it before. They were about the same size. They were small guys. They were about maybe 140 pounds soaking wet. And they worked out with us. We showed them all the same things. My one buddy just would take technique to heart, and he would put almost no weight on and just go super slow and squeeze everything. And this kid ended up with one of the biggest probably strength to body weight ratios I've ever seen in my life. He got absolutely shredded, and I would actually call him jacked. He was always kind of a smaller guy, but he was muscular as hell. The other guy, you guessed it, he just quit after a month or so. He wanted to go in there and toss as much weight as he could possibly muster. There's a time and place for that, but especially when you're first starting to work out, just focus on the form, focus on the squeeze and the technique, and I promise you, your weight will increase so much in the next couple of months, you won't even have to worry about it. Find a hot sauce that you absolutely adore. You're gonna wanna be eating a lot of meat. I'm sorry if that offends anybody, but you're gonna become very frustrated if you try to be a jacked vegan, even if you saw one on the internet that one time. You're gonna wanna be eating a lot of chicken, pork, rice, and hot sauce is just a low sugar, low calorie, low sodium, low fat way to make any of those types of stir-fry dishes or just chicken and rice. taste more interesting. This is what I currently have in my refrigerator right now, my current stable. These Melindas are usually pretty solid. This is Yellowbird. Everything they do is gold. This is Wuju sauce. I absolutely love it. I put it on everything. I went to the store and I bought all of them the other day because I ran out and I never wanted to run out. This, you're probably not going to find quite yet, but this is Sebastian's Sweet Heat. A friend of mine I used to work with actually started bottling his own hot sauce, and it's ridiculous. I wouldn't just say that to blow smoke, but yeah, I put that on everything too. It's a little bit thicker than a normal hot sauce, but it's kind of more of a condiment. Awesome. This one is the best here because I made it. Try making your own sometime. This is a maple red Savina sauce. Ridiculously hot. But also, hot sauce lets you practice becoming comfortable with being uncomfortable. If I eat this one, I am gonna sweat, I'm probably gonna cry, and I'm just gonna be an absolute mess for a little bit while. The last one I have is just a cheap kind of Frank's Red Hot knockoff. I usually keep something like that in the cupboard and just let it sort of age and rot and get real weird, and I just dump it on everything. So find one you like, stick with it, start a collection. Very rarely do I try one and I decide I hate it and throw it out, but it does happen once in a while. But see what's out there. It'll help you choke down a lot more protein. Please, I'm begging you, for the love of God, do not worry about getting too jacked, okay? It's nonsense. Nobody in the history of weightlifting has ever woken up and been like, oh no, I've become so yoked, I don't know what to do. Getting muscular is hard. A lot of things have to go right. It takes a lot of dedication, it takes a lot of healthy eating, and you're just not gonna wake up and become too jacked, all right? So lift with all the intensity you can in a safe way, and I think you'll be happy with the results and happy how you evolve over time. You're not gonna get too jacked, trust me. Flex in the mirror, preferably without a shirt, all the time. Okay, if you're a beginner, what you see in that mirror is awesome. You're so lucky because it's only gonna get better from here. This is not just an exercise in vanity. What this is gonna do is allow you to like focus on the muscle. When you squeeze it and you look at it at the same time, you're understanding your muscles. There's so many muscles that have smaller muscles within them, right? Your triceps, there's 3 heads on there. There's 3 heads on your delt. And you're learning how to flex all these different body parts. It's just gonna teach you more about your body and more about muscles that you never really thought about before. So spend some time in front of the mirror, preferably at home. I don't really care if people do it at the gym, but that's just me. I see people getting a lot of weird looks. I'm not trying to encourage anyone to care what people think, but just make sure you're flexing somewhere, all right? Bang. You're gonna wanna learn how to cook delicious chicken. Again, if you wanna become more muscular, you're gonna have to eat the flesh of animals. It might be cruel, but it is what it is. Look guys, I'm not here to pick on vegans or anything, it's just that it's the reality of the situation. You're not gonna end up putting on a bunch of muscle by eating beans unless you wanna wear a diaper around all day. It just is what it is. I'm gonna show you guys one way that I love to do chicken. When I show you this, it's gonna not really make any sense. The ingredients are a little bit weird, but it works together for some reason. I've tried so many different recipes, and this is the one I've been on lately. I think you guys are really gonna like it. So I'm gonna try to show you guys in the fastest way I know how to prepare and make this chicken. I just like to take these a couple at a time and just get some of this fat off. Get as much as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect with thighs. Chicken breasts are definitely much more easy to work with in terms of trimming, but I like thighs because I think they taste better and because they're much more forgiving when you cook them, and I really like to grill my meat. So if you overcook thighs, they're not gonna dry out like a chicken breast would. The goal here is just to, use as much of the animal as you can. You really wanna honor the animal. Anytime something has to die for me to eat, I like to really make sure I get as much as I can out of the meat. So there's that, there's my pile. So one really useful piece of advice here is I just try to keep one hand clean the whole time. I have one hand on my knife and I only touch the chicken with my left hand. That comes in handy when I need to go get another plate, if I need to put something somewhere, or if I need to grab my ingredients. What I like to do is do a nice spray with olive oil because I can get that off with one hand. And I like to use Lowry's. Sometimes I use salt and pepper, but I just really like Lowry's. I used to be against using any kind of pre-made seasoning, but I learned how to sort of make my own, and then I really like this stuff. I recommend it, but I can get that off with my wrist, so then I can just dust it. I don't have to worry about getting my chicken hand on the pepper shaker. Alright, now is when the magic happens. We're going to make a little marinade. I just like to start off with a little bit of water, maybe 1/3 of a cup of water. We're going to use a little bit of vinegar. We're going to use some ranch dressing, and why not use the best damn ranch you can find, aka Ken's Buttermilk Ranch. And again, a little Lowry's for good measure. And the key ingredient here, and I don't know why this works, but it does, a little Jamaican jerk seasoning. We're going to use probably 2 tablespoons of that, so almost half of that little thing there. I'll show you how it's done. So maybe about 1/4 cup of Ken's. We're gonna do, I don't know, 3 or 4 tablespoons of vinegar. Make it nice and tangy. Couple tablespoons of that Jamaican jerk seasoning, and maybe a little more Lowry's for good measure. I don't like to over salt my chicken, but I'm gonna fill that the rest of the way up with water and then just give it a stir. Always gotta taste it too. Yeah, nice and tangy. You want to shoot for about the richness of like a salad dressing. You know, you want a little bit salty, a little bit sweet, a little bit of a tang from the vinegar. Be easy with the vinegar because it'll sort of make the chicken get weird and rubbery because it kind of starts to cook it if you leave it in there for too long with too much vinegar. Careful with the vinegar. You can always add more if you need at the end. But yeah, I think this is going to be good. And we're going to marinate it, leave it overnight, and then I'm going to grill it tomorrow, and it's going to be ridiculous. Try to focus on each muscle directly as you're going through your exercises. If you can, just look at the muscle. When you are looking at and focusing intently on what you're doing, you're just developing a sense for what a proper muscle contraction is, and you'll just learn so much about your body and what you can withstand and how far you want to push everything, what angles you want to use. So just focus on the muscle as you're doing it and really get a good squeeze and do things with intent. So this one might be a little uncomfortable for people at first, but ask people at the gym what they're doing, what muscle and exercise is targeting. A ton of what I've learned is just watching people or just copying them if you don't want to talk to them. I mean, certainly don't stare at people and don't interrupt somebody in the middle of a set when they have their headphones in. But the truth is, most people at the gym are pretty cool. These are people who work out all the time, they feel great. They're not going to be wound up and pissy because they're there blowing off steam. So usually people are pretty laid back and would love to give somebody some tips. I think people also like to be asked at the gym what they're doing because what it kind of means is that you have looked at them and made a physical assessment based on their appearance alone that they must know what they're doing. So it's almost like you're giving them this weird silent compliment. Don't be afraid to talk to people. Don't be afraid to copy people. Try something out with a really small weight and just see what it feels like and go from there. And you'll learn a lot from just watching. Watch more YouTube. I don't care if it's me or somebody else. Definitely watch a lot of different people. But YouTube is just a treasure trove of knowledge. Take advantage of this wonderful tool and make the learning process part of the journey. Watching YouTube will help you immerse yourself in the lifestyle in general and probably just cause you to have more success overall just based on that alone. Alright guys, those are my 10 pieces of advice for new lifters. Follow any one of those 10 things and it'll have you well on your way to looking and feeling great. If I missed anything or you have any tips that you would give to someone, please put them down in the comments. If you think that anything I said here is obnoxious or wrong, absolutely would love to hear it. Would love to hear any feedback. Please like and subscribe and share this with anyone that you think might benefit. If anybody's just getting into it and you think I've said something here that resonates, please share it with them and we'll spread the knowledge. Thanks so much. Peace.